I hope you're doing well today. I hope you have nothing but good health, prosperity, a strong mindset, and a healthy vision for the future. I want to talk about the concept of enemy, not anime, enemy. Basically, it's the idea that Basically, it's the idea that the social constructs that we had as a society that give us an idea of how to live our lives starts to break down and fall apart. And the reason I'm saying this is because the system that we're in is currently failing us. And that's just me being honest. I grew up in the West, right? I'm in North America. And as time goes on, there's like a slow decline in the quality of life that you can expect from the average person. But we've been fed this script growing up that we have to do things a certain way to achieve the results that we're looking for. The education system, to start. The education system has been failing us more recently than before. There was a point in time where going to school and expecting to get a job related to your field made a lot of sense. But we're not in that time anymore. And I'm going to read you some statistics, right? Now, these statistics I've pulled from my own research today. They may or may not be accurate to when you're watching the video, but the numbers are real based on my research. And if you want to prove me wrong, I'm welcome to that idea as well. So the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that less than 1 in 3 college grads work in jobs directly related to their field of study. Basically, if you study a certain program, it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to find work in that field. Right? Now that's kind of obvious, but when you really look at the numbers, they're saying that 52% of new bachelor holders are underemployed in the first year of graduation, and 45% of them 10 years down the line are still underemployed. The good news is a good percentage of people are employed after grad. The bad news is the field that they studied in doesn't even really matter or not matter, but it's completely unrelated to what they studied school for, right? So imagine racking up all this debt just to end up in a position doing something that's completely irrelevant to what you studied in the first place. Let's talk about relationships. The dating market or the dating system is failing us too, right? Let's look at the numbers. So the CDC, basically this is in the US, they discovered that 41% of first marriages trend towards divorce. But I guess let's look at it this way, bro. If you flip a coin and I tell you it's 50% heads, 50% tails, you're going to say, okay, that's 50-50, right? If I tell you it's 41% heads, 50%, or 41% heads, and then what is that? 59? Yeah, 59% tails. You'll look at me and be like, oh, that's the same thing. That has been told to us because we don't really understand how to approach relationships, especially in this new world, right? Where social media is a lot more like present in people's perceptions of happiness, right? So when it comes down to it, we don't really have the same guideposts that we used to have in the past. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is housing, right? People are going to be like, oh man, if you get a partner, then you got to get a house, and a dog and a picket fence and all the works, right? The American dreams. But here's the thing about a mortgage, right? You don't own that home unless you pay off your mortgage. So we're not talking about housing debt, right? We're talking about ownership. Now, Stats Canada, these are Canadian statistics. Now, Stats Canada found that in between 2018 and 2022, 1.3 million or 8.6% of all households bought their first home. So what does that mean? Basically, people who've actually cleared their mortgages, right? You're looking at 8.6%. Now, in 2016, about 43% of homeowners paid off their mortgage fully, right? So less than half. So the reality is this: you're not guaranteed a job after school. So the go to school, get a job like thought process is outdated, right? You're not guaranteed a happy relationship. And as unfortunate as this sounds, the honest truth is a large percentage of them end in divorce. Now, the problem is a lot more nuanced than just, oh, relationships don't work. But it's more so about navigating relationships and getting into them for the right reasons. Now, the next thing is also the housing market, right? The housing market is not in your favor. If only 43% of people at that time period, the statistics might be different, but are actually managing to pay off their mortgages fully, you got to understand, I'm not saying that any of this is impossible. And I'm not saying that you won't be the part of the percentage of people that are successful in this endeavor. You might just be. But let's look at it from an objective standpoint. We are not in the same world we used to be. And the story that was once supposed to guide us and give us structure for what to do and the decisions that are best for us is breaking down. So the best thing to do now to achieve your own personal happiness is to create your own story, develop your own system. The goal that you have or the life that you want may not be traditionally achievable, right? Maybe if you value something like housing, maybe you should go to a different country. If you value something like education and working in your field, maybe you have to look at different opportunities or building connections that can get you in that field. The way for you to achieve that same goal is about connections. You got to know someone who knows someone and then get connected to them directly to be able to find that opportunity. The traditional steps don't work as much for the general population. Now, there are definitely specialized fields where having that education is going to make a big difference, right? Maybe if you want to be a doctor, you should really look at going into med school. Like, not really look at, you have to go to med school, right? You don't have a choice. But where you go to med school would make a big difference, because maybe the opportunities that you feel like you would have in one place aren't actually going to get you what you're looking for. All I'm saying is, to make your dreams come true, you have to think outside the box. And sometimes that means putting yourself in different circumstances or going about things in a roundabout way, because we don't live in that same kind of society anymore. Where doing things the straightforward path gives you the same result that you're looking for. So set your own path, develop your own systems, because the systems we have now are failing you. So watch this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.